Happy Thursday. Welcome, everyone. My name is Lisa, and we are live because every Thursday we go live. Today I have a guest coming on, so Tiffany will be here shortly. And we're going to talk all about tips and secrets to living your best life. So I'm super excited to chat with her. She is also health coach and other things, and she does a lot for women on mindset and just helping you to live your best life. So we're just going to wait until Tiffany pops on, and we will be talking to her. While we are waiting, I would love to hear, do you have any questions on health, fitness, or mindset? Drop them below so her and I can kind of go through that. And then I'd also love to know, how is the weather where you're at? How's the weather? Just give it a second here. And
there you are.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for joining me today. And
Absolutely.
I'm going to have you just introduce yourself and tell everyone all about you. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Tiffany.
I'm Tiffany Simms. I am the founder of the Modern Women's Society. It is a community where high achieving, ambitious, driven, heart-centered women come to learn how to master harmony between their health, their relationships, and the way they earn money. Too many women are doing some really great things. They look so amazing on paper. They're checking all the boxes, but yet they're driving home in silence, crying on the way home from work because it's like, what is it all for? Is this all that life has to offer? Like, what was I working so hard for? This doesn't feel the way I thought success was supposed to feel. And so bringing them together where their ambition is celebrated, not tried to like be minimized and put in a box, you're doing too much, but where ambition and dreams and goals are celebrated in a way where where you get to be your whole self and not just one aspect of yourself. And so it is such a magical place. And yeah.
I love that. Tiffany and I actually met, gosh, was it like a year ago I was on your podcast?
That's crazy.
I think it was. I think we interviewed like maybe 9 months ago, and then it released about 6 months ago, I think. I think it released in the fall. So tell everyone what your podcast is if they want to listen to it.
Yeah, go check it out. Lisa's episode was so much fun. It's called Two Humans Talking. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iHeartRadio. And it is really just like the sitting down with women who are doing amazing things, women who said, life isn't supposed to feel like this. There must be something I don't know, and went out and figured things out. And now they're like, oh my God, this was the thing no one taught me. I have to share it with other people. And so we sit down woman to woman and just talk about the real life stuff so that you know that you're not crazy for what you're experiencing. You're not broken. It doesn't mean you can't hack it. Like, it is a universal experience we all have, and kind of hear some of those thought processes and aha moments as those of us who have like moved through the muck went through, so that you kind of have just like a roadmap to go yourself and explore. And we really encourage women. We don't want to tell you what to do on the show, but we want to show you what has worked for us so that you can engage your own brain and kind of process and get curious about what will work for you.
Right. Yeah, it was super fun being on your podcast. I thought we had a great chat. So go check it out. Not just my episode, but all of her episodes are fantastic, and you have great guests on. So highly encourage you guys to check that out. Now I want to kind of dive into the topic of like overwhelm due to all the free information we have online. So I will tell you guys just off the cuff, Tiffany and I did not go through any questions. We're just like both winging it today. And I just want to talk about this because this has come up a lot with my clients lately. And a lot of like the messages I'm getting in my DMs is like, well, what you're saying is different than what I hear from, this influencer or this influencer, or, this study over here is saying this thing and this research over here says this thing. I'm just curious to know, what is a tip or what is something you would say to someone who is maybe saying that, who is like, I'm really overwhelmed because I'm trying to maybe be healthier or upgrade my mindset or, wanting to be happier, but yet, this podcast says one thing and this podcast says another thing, and I
Yeah.
don't know what to do.
Yeah. Recognize that you're you first.
Mm-hmm.
That what we're like, I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that other people's playbooks might show me a path to success, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is the path for me. And so I always start when I get overwhelmed, because it happens to all of us in every season at every level. There is something that is off, and we start going down a rabbit trail trying to solve it for ourselves, and we get 20 gazillion different inputs that are all going different directions. And when that happens to me, the first thing I ask myself is, who am I? Who is Tiffany when you get rid of all of her titles and all of her accolades and all the things that people rely on her for? Like, who am I? I am a woman who is energized by the sun. So the fact that it has been gloomy the last 3 days, like my solar battery is drained. And so like I have to do a lot of extra things, but I'm energized by the sun. I'm grounded by the water. And I love to hike and I love to color and I love all things Disney. Like those are the things that make me me. And no matter what you call me, those make me me. So I get really clear about like what makes me me, what I really enjoy doing. And then I start saying, okay, what is my definition of success in this area that I am looking to improve on? We'll use health. It's such an easy example. If I was my healthiest self, what does that look like? Like, what does it feel like? How do I feel in my body? What kind of activities am I doing? Like, who am I surrounded by? What kind of conversations are we having? Like, I define my definition of success first. And then that allows me to filter out things that I'm hearing. Because if it doesn't help me get to my destination, it might be great, it might work, but it's not helping me feel and live the life I want, then it's not for me, at least
Right.
not in this season. Maybe down the road, I'll want that thing for that reason. But like in this season, then it's not aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always start with like, what is success to me in the bucket that I'm exploring? And that helps me filter out a lot of that stuff. What about you?
Yeah, I like that. That's a little deeper than what I usually tell people to do. I usually say like, how does it feel to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like I'm just going to use intermittent fasting because that's the question I've been getting a lot lately. What is it? How do I do it? Should I be doing it? And it's like, well, first off, does it even feel good to you? Like,
Mm-hmm.
does like knowing that you have a restricted eating window even feel good for you? Because if not, then why are we even exploring it? Because it's like it's not going to align with you down the road, or it's going to feel very hard all the time. And that's not something you want to start either. So, like, how does it feel to you initially, just thinking about it or doing any research on it? So that's normally what I say
I
to them.
love that. That is such a great time. So like for me, I'll be the guinea pig. Like let's like walk through that train of thought. For me personally, intermittent fasting, are there health benefits to it? Yes, there
Yes.
are things they have learned things about intermittent fasting. They've learned that it helps with minimize dementia. Like there are health benefits to intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting for Tiffany, I am a recovering binge eater. So like I spent 20 years of my life struggling with a binge eating disorder that then swung into orthorexia, and I became obsessed with health, being healthy, and it consumed my whole life. So for me to go into telling myself that I can only eat in these eating windows, I can, oh my God, I felt it in my body just then. Like my body starts to like have reactions. And
Mm-hmm.
so like, it doesn't matter how healthy it is, it's not
Right.
healthy for me,
Mm-hmm.
because it creates like all of these unhealthy thoughts, habits, patterns, mental chatter. And then I do the opposite of what my intention was. And I love that so much, because the other piece of that, like for me, after it's like, what is success for me is, are you willing to be the scientist of your own
Mm-hmm.
life? So my backgrounds are in biology, biochemistry. I worked at Johns Hopkins in the National Institute of Health. I was a nuclear chemist for 12 years before starting my company. And so like I love science. But when we step back and I hear people, when people say like, but the science says this is what the research says. All science is asking a question and then running a series of tests in different environments and with different models and different inputs to collect data, analyzing the data, and then making a conclusion with the information that you currently have. And so like for me, I don't really care what the research says because I am the scientist of my own life. And so, like, what feels good for me? If I try something and my body responded positively and I had energy for days, or I really enjoyed the people that I've been surrounded with, well, I'm going to do more of that. If I do something and now all of a sudden I'm like biting everyone's head off, I'm really drained around the people I'm hanging out with, I feel like I'm failing everywhere. Well, that tells me that what I'm doing isn't working and I need to like take a step back and try something new. And so like that is my approach to everything. And so I think that it for me, when you ask that question, like how do you discern, like you said, how does it feel in your body? And then when you try it, is it a matter of it didn't go so well because I haven't done this and I'm practicing becoming a new person that I've never been before. I'm practicing a habit that I've never had. Or did it not go well because it is like literally destroying me and it wasn't meant for me?
Yeah, I think so many of us want to like follow a set of rules or a set of guidelines to like whatever it is, be healthy, live our best life, have a better mindset, be a better, spouse, be in a better relationship, XYZ. But like, I know I'll just speak on the health front because I've been in the health field for 20 years. There isn't like one thing, it doesn't work for everybody because everyone is different. And for example, if intermittent fasting works for you now, it might not work for you in a year. Or it might not work for you now, but it might work for you down the road. So it's like we do need to be more in tune with our body and how we feel and what makes us feel good and what doesn't make us feel good in order to truly be our healthiest, be our happiest, and live our best life. Because if you're constantly trying to like, put that square peg in the circle, it's never going to fit. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I feel like a lot of us just keep trying to do, not only in health, but in other areas of our life as well. We see the influencers on social media saying, do X, Y, and Z, and you'll be super happy. But then it's like, is that making you happy? So, yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. The two thoughts that popped in my brain while you were sharing, one of them was like, I am like on a kick, and I've said this so many times in the last month. I am no longer in the business of handing people recipes. I want to help teach you how to write the recipes for yourself
Exactly. Yeah.
because life is always going to
Yeah.
life. And your life and what your day looks like today is going to be different than mine because we have different goals and destinations and requirements and responsibilities and like different factors.
Yeah.
And so like can we help get you the tools so that you can write the recipes for success no matter what ingredients you're given, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other piece of that is like we want someone to tell us exactly what to do. Yet that is the exact reason we feel stuck because it requires so much mental energy. And then we beat ourselves up because we didn't have the discipline and the willpower and like the energy to like be so militant and compliant on the thing, on the recipe that you gave me. And then we just blame ourselves for sucking. And it's like, actually, the reason it wasn't going to work for you is because it was requiring so much mental load.
Yeah.
And so, like, can you slow down enough to speed up? And what I mean by that is, can you forgive yourself and recognize that you have collected a whole lifetime full of, like, a whole backpack full of habits and coping mechanisms to get you through the hardest seasons of your life? And can we just thank those habits that are no longer serving us for getting us through those hard times and leaving them in a backpack for someone else who's in it to pick up and run with? Because they helped you survive. And can we start developing the habits and the patterns so that when life is lifing, our autopilot is that of the person we want to be, not of our survival self? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. What about, so if you're saying that to someone,
Mm-hmm.
and what if they're like, I don't know who this like next level person is? Like someone who's maybe just stuck in that survival mode or stuck in the way they've always done things, but they do want their life to look different. How can they start to like envision who, like what that person would be or what they would be doing at that next level, I guess?
Yeah, I think it starts back with that, like what I shared earlier about like the who you are and defining what success looks like for you. And when it comes to your health, when it comes to relationships, including with relationships, this is so key. I think this is key, is what words do you want other people to describe you by when you're not in the room? And what kind
That's a good one.
of conversations and activities do you actually want to do with people? Like, I think that is so important when we talk about relationships. And then what does success in your career and with your money and your income really look like? And I call that your life GPS. Because once you know your GPS and it's programmed to your future self, and you put all the things that make you you in the middle of that triangle, well, then all of a sudden, you know, you're imagining what your perfect day is. And then from that perfect day, you then get to decide like what information you want to go seek. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I love that. What came to me when you were saying that is, so it has to do around money. Like when you're thinking about your
I'm like
priorities.
crawling in the stream to get closer to you. I'm like, tell me.
Tell me all the secrets. So when you're thinking about, like, let's say money or your GPS, what your priorities are in your life, and everyone's is different, but yet I feel like we all judge, we judge everyone by like what we can see, right? So like the person driving the car that's maybe only $20,000, we all think is like, oh, that person must not have any money, or they're on a really tight budget. They must not have a good job. But in reality, that person could be like, have all this money because maybe they invest their money and a car just isn't their priority, right? And then you have the person who drives like the $80,000 car, but yet they have no money and they couldn't, save a month's worth of anything because it's all in their car. So if you are, say, the person, right, that has the different priorities than, say, most of the rest of America.
Right now,
Yeah,
if you were
that's
to
me
come
too.
into my life, you'd be like, is this woman doing okay?
Yes. Same.
Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, yes, because like these things that you value as important, that I used to value as
Right.
important, there is no shame in this,
No.
right? Like what your
It's
value is your value.
it's whatever
But for
your
me,
priorities
buying a
are.
new
Yeah.
car means that I'm not allowed, that I then am not able to invest in conferences and personal
Right.
development and going on retreats and other things that right now are the things that bring my soul alive.
Yeah.
And so, yes.
So
I'm that person.
yeah. So what if? Okay. So what if the person that's that person, right, is you, but that person used to be the $80,000 car person, but now they do want their priorities to change because they want to up level, and in order to up level and be that next best self, you do need money in the bank. You need a savings. You need to feel safe, right? So, what is one tip you can tell that person? Because we always look outside, right? And so it can be discouraging if you're over here in your lane driving your $20,000 car and everyone else is passing you in their $80,000 car, and you're like, ah, is my life, am I doing it right? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Back to that perfect day that you created, your life GPS of what it looks, feels, tastes, how, like who you're talking to, what you're doing with them, like what that looks like. And then you compare it to where you're at. And in that gap is the roadmap to the skills and habits and opportunities that you then go chase. And so instead of chasing people who have an appearance, you say, okay, well, if I don't feel good, we'll talk about health. I'm saying my perfect day and my perfect success for health is that I can tie my shoes without being out of breath, that I can get to my desk in my office without being winded and sweaty. This was me at one season. That was if I could just not be winded when I get to my desk, like that would be healthy for me. Well, then it was like, okay, what in my life right now is preventing me from getting that? Well, I'm not really eating breakfast, and if I am, it's a Snickers bar. Okay, well, what would actually give you energy? What could you have for breakfast that's actually going to make you feel good about yourself and give you the energy to get through your day so that you're not then trying to find something to like fake energy into your body? And so, like, kind of going backwards that way of like, what is it that I want? Where am I right now? What is actually the gap that I have? And not from a place of I hate myself so much, I'm going to force myself to diet. I'm going to force myself to like not spend any more money right now. But from that place of, is this supporting me in my destination, or is this keeping me away from my destination? And in that we identify the skills and the habits that we realize that we actually don't have in order to step into the next identity. And so then it's like, for me at one point in my career, I thought I was a great communicator, but yet I was constantly getting in trouble for poor written communication, and that people were saying I didn't say something. And so I was like, you know what, if this is the thing that keeps coming up, I'm just going to go take a class on communication. And you know what, I'm going to take a class on written communication, I'm going to take a class on verbal communication. And next thing I knew, like after that, 6 months later, guess who got a promotion? And so like, if I wanted a promotion. People kept giving me feedback that like my communication skills were lacking. So I went and filled the gap. And then I was able to get to the next destination. And then once I was in that role, it was like, okay, what am I actually looking for? I want to step into these leadership roles. Well, how is someone going to see me as a leader? Actually, I work really hard, but no one's really identifying me as a leader. Well, what do the leaders value? What is important to the company? Oh, they don't really care how hard I work. They care how my work impacts KPIs and the business goals. Well, how can I put myself in positions to support the company's business goals? Well, I don't know those skills. Well, what do I need to go learn? Let me go ask these people. And so, like, it's that dissection of where do I need to go? What does that person do, be, act? And then how do I step into it?
Yeah, also some personal responsibility as well, because you're taking the initiative to figure out where's the piece I'm missing and who can help me get that, whether it's a class, a course, talking to someone, a mentor, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's not the answer. I know it's not the answer that I would have wanted when I felt like I was flailing because it wasn't clear and it felt muddy. But, like, it is the answer.
Yeah.
Every single time, even to this day, when something isn't working the way I want it to, it is always because it's like there's a gap that I hadn't identified for me to like step into what that next thing I want is.
Yes.
And that's
I love that.
where the backpack analogy came into my came from originally, was like I have to let go of these things that brought me to here because they're actually holding me back from stepping into the next thing that I want. And then I just went and found those people that were really good at that thing. And then I learned from them and I would try what they were saying and I would make it, I was the scientist again. And then I made it work for me. And if it didn't work because like our circumstances were different after like 90 days, it was like, okay, something here's not working. What is the next thing that I don't know that's making like that's preventing me from stepping into this? I see it's working for everyone else. Where's my gap here? Because clearly there is something I'm missing. And so it's just you're always chasing for me, and chasing is such a negative word, but
being
in
curious.
this, that curiosity of like, what is it that I need to become in order to get what I actually want? And what do I have to let go of to make room for it?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's really good. So Tiffany, let's wrap this up. Can you tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me right here on Instagram. Go send me a hello. I love being human. I want to talk to you. I want to hear your life story and get to know your soul. So just come say hello here in Instagram, and come be my friend.
Make sure to listen to your podcast.
Yeah, come listen to the podcast. Come be my friend. I just love being humans with other humans, especially in a world where we feel so disconnected. Like, come be my friend.
Yeah. Sense of community, right? Even through virtual.
Yeah.
So, yeah, perfect. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining me today. You guys go check out Tiffany and all the work that she is doing. She's incredible. It's super fun. She's got great talks on her podcast. So listen to those, and we'll see you back here next time.
Bye,
thanks, Tiffany.
Lisa.
Bye.